Oh yeah, party people. Jason Gully here, representing Tacos and Turntables podcast with my man Vicious V. Thanks for tuning in to the podcast. We got a lot of cool old school artists coming in with different topics. You know, taking you back in the day with behind the scenes of some of the freestyle movement, as well as hip hop and old school. We also offer merch on the Tacos and Turntables site, just like this shirt right here, keeping it old school. That's what we are. So that's what we're representing. Stay tuned into the podcast. Towards the end, we're going to be doing contests and drop giveaways and stuff like that, and show you where you can get the drops, where you can get the merch, and upcoming stuff that we're doing with the podcast.
Hey guys, it's Tacos and Turntables. We're back with DJ Greg Lopez. And how you doing, Greg?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Just happy to talk to you.
What are we talking about now?
We're gonna talk about
What do you got? What you got?
the Doghouse days, man, and mixing for the Doghouse. You mix the clubs, you mix live on air, different times, right? Different sets. And one thing that I remember specifically, and anybody watching this will know, you broke a lot of records, and you also had a lot of freedom to express yourself as a DJ. And you had some really, really dope mixes, man. What was it like mixing for the Doghouse?
Doghouse it was really fun and nerve-wracking at the same time, because I started off as their DJ and mix show guy, but it morphed into something else where I did that along with being more of a part of the show. Like at first it was just I would do the mixes and then take off, or would hang out for a little bit and then take off, and then they would ask me to do things. Well, can you do this or can you do that? And it kind of just incorporated me into the show. So eventually it was the mixes were a little bit of what I did, but the most of the stuff is, doing stunts, doing competitions and contests and recording bits and helping with the background stuff during the show. A lot of it turned into that. That became nerve-wracking because, Doghouses, we did a lot of crazy shit. So, and a lot of the time you didn't know what you were going to do. A lot of it was a secret. JV knew and Elvis knew. They planned things out for us to do, but we didn't know until we got there that day. Like, oh, by the way, you guys are doing this. And it could be something simple, like a simple contest, and some of it was just some wild, crazy shit that you don't know if your clothes are going to get messed up, if you're going to go home with shoes on. You never knew. You never knew what was going to happen.
Well, what are some examples, Greg? I mean, come on, you got to give us some dirt here, man. There was some, I remember just off the top of my head, it wasn't you, but it was a guy, like a character that somehow he was like in a dryer, like an industrial dryer, and he's on the phone at the same time yelling and complaining. He's going around the dryer, and it's just all kinds of crazy stuff.
There was stuff like that. I think that was before I started doing stuff. That was beforehand. But there would be times where they would say, okay, you and Ruth and Graham and Joe, you're going to go to a golf course and you're going to rent golf carts and you're going to try to flip them over. That's what you're doing today. So let's go. Get to going. Get over to the golf course. And somebody's going to record it, and you guys are going to do your best to flip over these golf carts with you in it. Like whoever flips one over. So we rented over some golf carts. We all rented golf carts, and we were doing our best to try to flip these things over.
I hope you had good insurance, bro, because a lot of things can go wrong trying to flip over a golf cart.
Yeah, like when it flipped over, it just flipped to the side, and you got to kind of get out of the cart before it smashes your legs, and you just didn't know what was going to happen. A lot of it was you didn't know. The pre-recorded bits that me and Graham would go do, or me and Joe, we knew that ahead of time because we had to go record something for the next day. But a lot of the surprise stuff, we didn't know. We had no idea.
So what else is there, man?
A lot of people also ask, was everything real? I have to say 100% everything was real. There's nothing that was fake. If we were doing something like we all had to kiss Hanky or something for some reason, it was real, man. We did it. That's exactly what we did.
You know what's cool about that though, Greg, is I think it has to be real to get the reaction that you guys had, because that's what created the comedy, right?
JV was not into fake radio or fake things. He wanted it to be authentic and real reactions, and a lot of it was on video. So you can't fake it on video. You have to actually do it. It's there's no fake things going on. There's there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff. I know there was one point where during the commercial break, we would all just be like ripping on each other and just talking shit and just fucking with each other. And JV would go, man, this is good. What? Okay. First, he made a rule that nobody can talk during the commercial break. You can't talk. Don't talk to each other. Everyone just shut up, save it for the air. And if we did have something to say, he would record the commercial break. But he would tell you, okay, this is what happened during the commercial break. And like the funny part of the shit would happen during the funny part of the show happened during the commercials because it was, and we could talk shit to each other. And we could say bad words and just really fuck with each other. And then when the show came back on, we had to kind of tame it down, because there's certain rules and regulations of things you could say and you can't say.
That's really cool, man. So basically, everything was organic, it was spontaneous, and that I think that's what created that magic, that the appeal. It was so fun to listen to, right?
And not knowing what you're gonna do is just nerve. You don't know. You're driving to the station going, all right, this could be a mellow day, or I could just almost die today, or almost break something, or something may happen. I don't know. I
That's
don't
like
know what's
playing,
gonna happen.
it's almost like playing Russian roulette, right?
You
You
just
don't
don't
know.
know. Don't know what's gonna happen.
You don't know what's going to happen. And then this is something I'm wondering about. How in the world were you able to, you're driving to the station, you're wondering, I don't know what the heck's going to happen, but then it's like, hey, Greg, go do a dope mix. And
Yeah,
you're like,
in between, you have to stop and do a mix and
yeah,
then
you're like, how do
get back
you
to
wrap
it.
your mind around that, bro? How do you do a dope mix, break records, but then it's like, oh yeah, you're gonna go flip a golf cart, and then you're gonna come back. I need you to
By the
do
way, after you're done with your mix, or go flip the golf cart and get back here and do your mix. Get your ass back to the station. You got a mix to do. Yeah.
exactly, dude. What are some other I know if I mean, dude, if everybody can obviously picture that trying to flip a golf cart, and I don't know if there was like a prize who could
It
flip it
is hard
better.
to flip a golf cart, actually. I mean, really have to find an angle or a little hill. And, there's no sides to a golf cart. There's no safety precautions. If the cart goes down, you're going down with it, or you have to
Jump
eject
out.
yourself out of it somehow. I don't know. That's the shit you don't think about. You just kind of figure it out when you're okay. The cart's flipping over and it's about to smash me. You better move out of the way.
Speaking of realness, man. So I know the Doghouse had a bunch of prank call CDs they put out. They had those VHS tapes. They had events that they did, concerts that they were involved in, so many different things. What are some things that come to mind that I know you DJ'd at or you're involved in? It was almost like a basically I think the Doghouse it was like a celebrity status type of thing. You know what I mean? And you guys would show up somewhere and party with people, and it was really really cool. It was honestly like a once in a lifetime thing. That whole era as far as radio really
Yeah.
really broke a lot of ground. What are some memorable things that you remember from that?
Shit. There's so many. I remember we did an event at Sound Factory and I had to stop DJing for a minute and go oil wrestle somebody, some girls or something on stage. I had to stop, get out of my clothes that I wore, and go onto the stage, oil wrestle like some girls or something. I don't know. I think I lost something, and that was my consequence. So I had to do that. So I was covered in oil, like whatever oil they put in there for us to oil wrestle. I did that. And for at Sound Factory, upstairs in the office, there happened to be a shower. So I got to run upstairs real quick, shower off, put my clothes back on, get back to the booth and DJ for the rest of the night.
Oh man,
Just
that
like
sounds
shit like that. Like
yeah, mentally that sounds very tough to do, man. You're thinking about mixing and focus and whatnot and rocking the crowd, and here you are oil wrestling and getting oil off your body. You know what I mean?
and now you got to go the rest of the night feeling all oily for
Oh,
the.
oh yeah.
It just feel all funky and weird for the rest of the night. Yeah, it's
That
just random shit like that. But
But
it
you know,
wasn't for everybody. Like you had to have that thick skin and I'll do anything type of attitude, because if you didn't, they wouldn't have you. They just tell you to fuck off. We
yeah,
don't need you on the show if you can't handle it, you know?
yeah, no,
Maybe
but I
that
think
prepared me for Vegas. I don't know. Being
I
able
was
to
just gonna
handle.
say that, Greg. You read my mind. I was just gonna say that I think that that really prepared you for Vegas to have that kind of, you know, mind over matter attitude, do whatever it takes kind of attitude, because it's
But
very,
with the
very tough.
Doghouse, it was just funny because people enjoyed it so much when you were, at the grocery store, you went to the gym the next day or that day, later on that day, people were they were laughing at it and they were just talking about it. And you saw the reaction from people, and that made you want to do it even more
Right.
because they thought it was so funny that they were really entertained by it. And it was some funny shit. And it was at our expense, of course, all the time, but it was worth it. It was so fun just to have that audience and people like it so much and be into it so much. And they knew exactly what you did. Oh, what you did today, blah, blah, blah. I would go to the gym the next day with me and Jasmine would go to the gym. And I would, oh, you did this. And when you did this, it was so funny. I love when you did this. And when you guys did this, and JV said this, and Elvis said this. And oh my God, it was so fun. Like they were so into it. And it made it so much more fun.
Yeah, no, I bet, man. That's the ultimate compliment, I think, to the Doghouse in that whole era, that it was fun. It made it fun to listen to also. Obviously, you guys had fun doing the show and everything you did, but it was also fun as a listener,
Yeah.
sitting back and just being entertained. I want
I
100%.
also I also got to see the behind the scenes work, how hard JV worked. And he was a very hands-on person. He's probably the most talented, hardworking person I've ever seen. And he just wanted things a certain way. And you had to have it that way. He needed it to be a certain way. And obviously it worked because the things he did and the things he came up with worked so well. And he was just a good behind the scenes guy. I got to see how hard these people work. Even Elvis and Hollywood and all those guys, they worked so hard to make that show good. And it showed because just that behind it, the work ethic was fucking amazing. Like JV was just a perfect. He edited things himself. He didn't leave it to other people to do shit. He did shit himself.
And they
He
would
knew how
show
to
up,
do a lot. Huh?
but they would show up really, really early also, right? For the morning.
Yeah. But they also, at the end of the show, would do show prep for the next day. So they would come up with shit for us to do. We would leave. We would do whatever we needed to do for them. We need to record a bit. We record it, bring it back, go home. So the rest of us would leave kind of early, but those three would stay and plan out what we were going to do the next day. And just their ideas and what they came up with was just fucking incredible. Just
Yeah, it
the
sounds like,
work ethic for that show was just amazing.
and it showed, man. It showed. I think that's part of the reason that they were so successful. You know what I mean? I think that's the reason that they was so entertaining and funny, because there's so much love and so much work involved with that show. I think the Bay Area was, better off because of it, 100%, man. And people miss that. They missed
A
the,
lot of shows copied that show after.
I think they set the mark, that kind of a benchmark.
Jackass and Fear Factor, they spawned those shows from that show. We were just doing it for fun, but they also took it to another level. But I think that sparked a lot of ideas for shows like that.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense, man. And I honestly, myself, just speaking for myself, but I think people can relate that they totally, totally miss that organic, very much, very fun aspect of radio, uh, with, that you guys brought with the Doghouse back
Also, the
in the day.
rules are different now. You can't say as much. People are more easily offended now. They would be offended by a lot of the stuff we did or said, or some of the words we used, or just being able to cuss a little bit. Like you could say asshole on the air back then. You couldn't say asshole now. You couldn't say take a piss. You could say it back then, but you couldn't say it now. Like the rules are very strict now. It's very corporate now. It wouldn't be fun. A
Yeah,
show like
no,
that couldn't be on the air because it wouldn't be fun.
that makes sense.
Maybe
Basically,
satellite or a podcast, but not that type of commercial radio.
Yeah, so you'd be handcuffed to the point where you can't really
Wouldn't be
express
fun.
yourself.
You
Yeah,
couldn't do anything that entertaining because it wouldn't be that fun.
yeah, no, that makes sense,
You could
man.
be cute and silly now, but you couldn't go overboard like you did.
But that's what made the show good. It was so funny, man. I'm honestly, I mean, just I've even showed my kids some of the prank call, the CDs and some of the videos,
The
man. And
best. Elvis was the best. Can't beat that.
yeah, I mean, dude, that stuff was just next
And
level, man.
those guys could think on their feet. Those guys could think on their feet, man. To be in a room with people like that that are so quick-witted and would just find something about you and just attack. You also, I mean, you grow a thick skin and you're fucked with constantly, but you also learn that type of thinking, how to be quick on your feet and be able to take it and deflect it onto somebody else, or deflect it there, or find somebody's weakness or something that they're insecure about and just attack it. Like
Yeah, no,
you
I mean,
couldn't be weak in that room because you would just get eaten alive.
I'm sure that was the case, man. And I think like I know you alluded to it earlier, but I honestly think it made you a better DJ, especially going to Vegas, because you definitely have to have thick skin to DJ in Vegas and be well prepared and just be a, just
You
total
have to handle
professional.
many things and be able to think on your feet and be able to pivot on your feet and like, okay, we're doing this now. Okay, now we're doing this. Okay, now we're doing this. Or be able to move around, without thinking about it. Just do it and be prepared to do it too.
Yeah, no, I mean,
There's no preparation with the doghouse though. You just had to do it.
to roll with the punches, so to speak, right? Literally, like you said,
Here's
like
what you're doing. Go do it.
here's what you're gonna do. You're like, okay, and then but
Today we're all getting our balls tased. It doesn't feel good, but if you want to be a part of the show, you don't want to be a part of the show. Guess what? Being part of the show today is getting your
man,
balls tased with a fucking taser.
that sounds pretty stressful. But at the same time, millions of people, literally millions of people, were entertained by it. So that stuff to me is just legendary radio, man. So you were a part of it, and really glad we got to catch up and touch base on all that stuff. I mean, it was just like I
Happy
said,
to be a part of it. I'm glad that things worked out accordingly so I could be a part of it. That's thankful for that.
there was really, really fun times, man. And I'm not sure, I wonder if there will ever be something similar to what they were doing. Like you said, maybe
I
not
don't
in
think
the
it could be
rotation.
because you would need an ultra super fucking motivated, talented, hardworking person like JV to put it together. And then you need backup talent like Elvis did his thing and he was talented, and Hollywood did his thing. He was funny as fuck and just hardworking and talented and just made this shit happen. To have that, you would need a team like that. It's tough. It'd be tough to find that. And the chemistry they all had, it was unreal.
Yeah, I mean, it was next level, man. And I really miss that. I'm sure a lot of people do. A lot of people watching, they totally missed that. It was so fun to listen to and then to be entertained every day. And then you had the events that went on alongside it, which were
On the
really cool.
boxing events, that was legit. That just showed you how big of an audience we had. It was just and a loyal audience too. They just went wherever you were, they went, and it was just so fun. We got to know our audience too. We would know people. We'd call them up or go over their house, or we became friends with the audience.
Yeah, no, the fan base too, man, that you guys developed. They were true diehard fans of the morning show, which is crazy to think about because now things are,
And we knew their names, and when they would call in, we would know their voice. And oh, this is so and so from Hayward, or this so and so person from. Oh, we knew them because we went out and we partied with them and had shots with them and drank with them and went to the after hours place and hung out with everybody. So we got to know everybody, at least the people that went out like that. But
yeah, there's definitely a personal connection with a lot of the listeners, which is really cool. And I mean, the fan base was huge, man. Like I said, anytime that there was an event that you guys were involved in, it was always a big turnout. You know what I mean? So
it
yeah,
was
man,
fun. It was just fun. It was a fun time.
I think that's the ultimate key to the whole show. It was so fun to listen to, and of course, you had fun, but also a lot of stress, doing the show. But that's kind of behind the scenes stuff. But for the listeners, it was so fun to listen to, and I think that's what made it great. It was kind of a one of a kind, and yeah, man. So,
And
Greg, brother,
those guys are just so funny anyways. Like if you just hung out with JV in his office or hung out with Hollywood in the office after the show, it was just fucking funny. Like they would just say stupid shit or do stupid shit. It was just, they were just funny people, but funny along with good work ethic, along with talent. It just made it just a one of a kind type of show.
no, that's definitely something to be remembered, and I don't
Like
think
if
it'll
you're
ever be.
like if anyone ever had the pleasure of hanging out with JV just one on one, he's just a fucking funny person. Like just the shit he says is just so fucking funny. We'd
Yeah,
hang out with
because
JV at his house. I go pick him up at his house before we went out or went to an event or something. It was just me and him, and he's just fucking hilarious. He's just a funny fucking dude. Same with Elvis. If you ever one on one with Elvis or even Lance or Hollywood, they're just funny fucking people.
yeah, no, definitely tons of fun to hang out with, man. I'm sure you had a lot of good, fun experiences with them. But man, so hey guys, comment below if you have any questions for Greg as far as the Doghouse days. And Greg, man, thanks a lot for blessing us with your time and giving us an insight into behind the scenes with the Doghouse Morning Show, man. I'm sure it was tons of fun.
Thank you. It
And
was fun talking about all this stuff. It was fun. Thank you.
yeah,
Appreciate
no.
it.
Oh, you're welcome, man. We got to reminisce a little bit about all that stuff. Guys, if you're watching the Tacos and Turntables podcast, man, comment below if you have any questions. And thanks so much for checking out the show. Greg, man,
Yeah.
salute, brother. Thank you so much,
Thanks.
man.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. Take
Appreciate
care.
you, brother.
Make sure you check out the links on YouTube. We got links to the shop for the One Stop DJ shop, which is what I represent. We got links to good tacos. We got links for mix show drops. So yeah, just check it out. And also, most importantly, from you guys, this is what we need. We need you guys to do this. We need you guys to hit subscribe and hit the bell. So hit subscribe helps us grow the channel. You hit the bell, this sends you an email when we put up a new podcast. So it gives you a heads up, so that way you can go in there and check it out and get the information that we're giving behind the scenes, like with artists that we're interviewing. So yeah, Tacos and Turntables. It's me, Jason Gully, and Vicious V.